Welcome. Mr. Sands, you are a human rights lawyer and professor international law. You have been involved in international trials at the ICC and ICJ, amongst others, on cases like Guantanamo Bay, Rwanda, for example. I believe this can be pretty exciting times for you, or interesting at the least.
Challenging times, I would say. This is not a moment where respect for the rule of law comes immediately to the fore. There are real challenges, whether one looks in Sudan or Ukraine and Russia or Israel and Palestine, or even the great change that seems to be taking place with the United States, or may not, we don't know, time will tell.
You chose to write a book on Pinochet, 38 Landers Street on Impunity, Pinochet in England and a Nazi in Patagonia. Why did you choose this story?
So the Pinochet case was unprecedented. It was a revolutionary moment. It was the first time in human history that a former head of state, and I emphasize the word former, he was no longer in power, was arrested in London for crimes committed elsewhere in Chile, international crimes. This had never happened before. And it raised the question of whether a former head of state is entitled to claim immunity from the jurisdiction of the courts.
In the end, Pinochet was not arrested in London. Although there was an international arrest warrant, there are today similarities with the case, for example, with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, where an arrest warrant was issued but not executed by Hungary when he was there. And our own Prime Minister, Mr. Bart de Wever, said that he wouldn't arrest Mr. Netanyahu as well if he would be in Belgium.
It's a sort of parallel for some of the issues we have now, but there are differences, and the two main differences are this. Firstly, Mr. Putin and Mr. Netanyahu are not former heads of state of government. They are currently in office. And so the situation is, in the eyes of many people, different. Secondly, the International Criminal Court is, as its name implies, an international court for which the rules are different from national courts. Pinochet was arrested for proceedings before national courts.
But what is the legitimacy of an international criminal court if heads of states can ignore an arrest warrant as they see fit and leaders can get away with impunity?
To understand the situation with Mr. Putin and Mr. Netanyahu, they are both heads of state or heads of government of countries that are not parties to the statute of the International Criminal Court. And so their argument will be the immunities we have under international law as serving head of state or serving head of government cannot be broken by a treaty entered into by others. And that's an important argument. It's one that the ICC judges have said does not avail to them. According to the ICC judges, they are not entitled to claim immunity, but that is contested by others, including various countries around the world, including the government of Hungary.
One might think that there is a double standard. When you look, for example, at South Africa, they took a strong stand in the Israeli-Gaza war. They tried to prosecute Mr. Netanyahu, but at the same time, they invite Mr. Putin in South Africa. It's all politics.
Yes, indeed. Double standards everywhere and politics everywhere, but that should not distract us ultimately from the significant development since 1945. We now operate in a world in which there is the idea of a rule of law, and there is at least the argument that such double standards may not persist.
The idea of a rule of law, that sounds rather weak, doesn't it?
Well, I think you've got to go back to 1945 and realize the revolutionary change that happened then. That was the first time in human history that states agreed that individuals, you and I, and groups of which we are a member, have rights under international law. Before then, a state was free to do whatever it wanted to its people, individuals or groups, as a matter of international law. All of that changed in 1945. And so we're still in sort of the early days of that revolutionary change that took place, which said, in simple terms, sovereignty is not absolute.
Many are, for example, frustrated by the atrocities that happen in Gaza today and want to call it a genocide. Is it okay to call it a genocide?
So let's deal with this in various stages. The first thing is some people are now saying that we are moving into a post-law world. I don't think that's right at all.
What is it?
The vast majority of rules that exist in the world are fully complied with. The rules that allow us to telephone, to fly, to watch television, to buy foods, all of these rules are in place. But there are a category of rules that deal with the use of force and the rights of human beings, which are plainly under challenge right now. Now, amongst the rules which come into play and which are challenged are the rules governing war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide. For myself, I don't draw a hierarchy between those three crimes. The killing of large numbers of people is a bad thing and is wrong as a matter of law if it's a war crime, if it's a crime against humanity, or if it's a genocide. I don't have a hierarchy. In the court of public opinion, there is a hierarchy between those crimes, and many people think that somehow genocide is the crime of crimes.
In 1945, there was some kind of hope, maybe. Today, less? Or am I seeing it wrong? Where is this heading?
I mean, international law is on a continuum, that there is an issue with compliance with international law. On the other hand, if we go back to my new book, 38 Londres Street, that concerned the arrest of a former Chilean president, General Augusto Pinochet, and it served a salutary lesson. For the first time in human history, a former head of state alleged to have committed international crimes was arrested whilst on his travels. And every leader in the world today knows, as they did not know before October the 16th, 1998, that if you're going to commit international crimes, you cannot expect to travel completely freely, and you can expect the possibility of a tap on the shoulder. And for me, that is a sign of hope. That has not disappeared. It persists. The law is a long game.